Hi friends, I am again today going to talk about another book related to spirituality that really influenced me in my own spiritual search. The book that I'm going to talk about is not exactly in the spiritual field, but let me explain why reading it is one of the most definitive steps in my spiritual journey. This book has been very notorious in recent times, repeatedly discussed in debates all over the country, but I bet that very few people have read it. I have no doubts to deny that its infamy or controversies related to the book played a very major role in me actually picking it up and reading it up. Let me cut to the chase and show you the book itself. This thick book is called Manu Smriti. I am sure everybody has heard huge amount of debates, starting from JNU to a lot of other places where people said, हमें मनुस्मृति से आज़ादी चाहिए. That is exactly why, after hearing that for a fairly long time, is when I was going through Khan Market and I, in a bookstop, I saw this book and I said, let me pick this up. What is the fuss all about? What is this book? Again, for all of those Puritans and etc., yes, this is indeed again coming from the same Max Muller stable. But well, I have no other version available with me, so I have read what I got hold of. Okay, so I have no intentions of hurting anybody's feelings by reading again a book coming from the same sources of Max Muller and his German interpretation, because a lot of people have come back with arguments that foreigners really do not understand the literal translations and therefore they have interpreted or misinterpreted in a different manner. I'm not getting into that controversy. This is about this book and how it affected me and my understanding of it. It affected me at multiple levels. Let me start off it this way. Let me come to first the fun part. Okay, this book, and I thought, what is it about? This book is one huge volume which has, like, every sort of, what do you want to call, classification of laws. Okay, it goes on. Wait, let me focus this. Okay, sorry. This goes on and on about laws on everything from, well, partnerships and deposits and recovery of debts and impurities and food and how you should study the Vedas and it goes on to non-payment of wages, what happens if you have defamation cases, thefts, violence, adultery. Yes, there are laws on adultery and every sort of law. Okay, if a man talks to another man's wife, if a man inappropriately touches another woman, if a man and forces himself on a woman, what should he do? Oh, he has to pay so much fine and he should do so and so things. Or if it's if he does it, with a different caste, what happens? If a woman does it to another woman, what happens? All sorts of laws. It goes on and on. Okay, what happens if he does it with other women of his family? Every single thing here has a law. Okay, and it can get fairly exciting. Okay, fairly exciting, let me put it this way. Now, when I read this, I said, to most of the laws, they seem crazy, illogical, absolutely mind-bogglingly inappropriate for today's times. So what's the fuss all about? Then I had to go back and say, oh, okay, maybe these are laws for another age. And I absolutely understand, because there's a lot of reference to intercaste and caste discrimination, etc. here. So I could understand the concerns of people all over the country, and all of those people who had concerns, saying that, look, it discriminates. Well, so I'm not even getting into the political aspects here, because this is about spirituality and my search. So when I read this book, I realized it's a law book. I mean, you can love it, hate it in today's times. It's basically a law book of a certain era. It at the first level, it shows you what people thought was right and wrong, or at least the ruling class thought was right or wrong at a certain age in history, thousands of years back. It also makes you realize that probably laws that we think today or moral codes that we think today are relevant, it's almost like a constitution of a certain time. Thousands of years later, I don't know what people will think about today's laws, right? Now, when I read a little more deeper and I tried to understand what was going on, okay, and how those laws were relevant, something very interesting came along. Let me first just read you a couple of stuff, okay. But if a man, through insolence, forcibly contaminates a maiden, two of his fingers shall be instantly cut off, and he shall pay a fine of 600 panas. If a man of equal caste who defiles a willing maiden, shall not suffer the amputation of his fingers, but shall pay a fine of 200 panas in order to deter him from a repetition of the offence. A damsel who pollutes another damsel must be fined 200 panas, pay the double of her nuptial fees, and receive 10 lashes with a rod. Okay. But a woman who pollutes a damsel shall instantly have her head shaved or two fingers cut, and shall be made to ride through the town on a donkey. Now, when you read all of these things, you immediately realize that, what, I mean, they absolutely do not have any sense today, right? And then I read a little more about these things, okay, about this book, and I realized, you see, very logically, there is a classification of books called Smritis and Stutis. Smritis are meant for a particular time, whereas Stutis are basically for the ages. So, nowhere does it say that Manu Smriti should be followed at all ages, at every time. Having said that, I am in any way, no way trying to justify, and one can really feel that if some lower caste had to bear all of this, how they would have felt. We cannot even begin to imagine. I am not even getting there. That is a part of a larger social issue which better minds can judge. What it hit me here was something else, and on a spiritual level. The moment you realize the difference between Stuti and Smriti, you realize it's not just about laws. You come to the essence of what spirituality is. You see, any belief system, any superfluous rituals, any sort of belief of morals, etc., which we hold dearly today, thousands of years down the line will be seen as irrelevant, which means they are irrelevant. And that is what is spirituality. When you remove all the layers of, these do's and don'ts and rituals and belief systems, etc., you remove all of this from your life. What remains at the very core is spirituality, just like Upanishads. There is nothing there except man's quest for God. What Manu Smriti taught me is what is not spirituality. This is what I wanted to come to. It taught me that all of this is but whatever you want to call it, custom, law, etc., etc. What is spirituality is best answered with what is not spirituality. Spirituality is when you declassify and remove all that is not related in any manner. to your direct connection with whatever is there, divine. Nothing is needed between you and the divine. There is just straight mental connection. You don't need any other custom. The moment you do that, that is where you are entering the realm of spirituality. That is what is a gift and a learning from this book to me. It's a very, very specific individual learning. I hope anybody else has also understood it in this manner. I would love to hear it. And since I have picked up a very controversial book, I will repeat in any manner possible. I don't claim to be the best judge of this book. I only am giving you a very personal interpretation and experience for myself. And I would love to hear if someone else has also read this book and what was his sentiments on this book on a personal level and not on political level, and if he also found it extremely interesting read, because all said and done, it is an extremely interesting read with all sorts of laws and everything which are, you know, may seem very, very, very bizarre to us today. With that, I end this note, looking forward to someone else who has also read this.